When Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's son Archie came into the world in May 2019, he was already making waves. Long one of the UK's most popular TV hits, The Great British Bake Off went through some big changes in 2016 when the show moved from BBC to Channel 4, a competing network. Several aspects about his birth broke with royal tradition, which is now what we've come to expect from the Sussexes. Archie is the duo's first child, and he's making several firsts for the royal family, even though he's not technically even royal. Right now, the 1-year-old is the apple of his parents' eyes, but he may not be an only child for long. Speculation is already ramping up that the Duchess may be pregnant with her second child. GBBO veterans Mel Giedroyc, Sue Perkins, and Mary Berry all left the show, leaving Paul Hollywood as the only member of the original crew to remain. Replacements were hired: broadcaster and politician Sandi Toksvig, chef and restaurateur Prue Leith, and eccentric comedian Noel Fielding, whose hiring seemed to come out of left field to many fans. However, Fielding wound up becoming the show's secret weapon, bringing a quirky, gleeful energy that re-energized the series and left viewers more entertained than ever. That baby will be the first to be born to a prince who is not a member of the monarchy any longer, but until another Sussex child comes along, it's all Archie, all the time. He may be young, but Archie's already led quite a fascinating life for a toddler. Here are some little-known facts about the little non-prince that fans need to know. His name is unique for several reasons. Archie's full name is Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor. As a review in Britain's venerable Radio Times pointed out, he was supposed to be dreadful, but Noel Fielding has turned out to be a true delight. Now, fans of the show may be looking back and wondering how they ever managed to enjoy GBBO without him. Even though he's been a fixture on British television for more than a decade, there's much about the goth-inspired comedian that viewers may not know about him. Read on to discover the untold truth of Noel Fielding. Noel Fielding starred in a cult-hit UK sketch comedy show long before he became a TV sensation for judging baked goods on The Great British Bake Off. Noel Fielding was best known as a member of the British comedy troupe The Mighty Boosh. His last name is the same as Prince Harry's, and it's just we don't hear it much. The royal family doesn't really need to use last names when they have royal titles. It all began in the late 1990s, noted The Guardian, when Fielding met fellow comedian Julian Barrett while they were booked on the same bill at a London pub. We love that Archie's middle name is quite literally, Harry's son. It's such a cheeky choice. Making Archie a top baby name after his birth in early 2019, Archie went on to become the top baby name for boys that year, according to Today. Deciding to work together, the pair first brought their weird, eccentric brand of comedy to BBC's Radio 4. The moniker kind of came out of nowhere, with people placing bets on the royal baby's name, completely leaving Archie out of the equation. It wasn't until comedian Steve Coogan, who'd become a fan, footed the bill to pay for the costs of shooting a pilot that The Mighty Boosh became a TV series. A glam rock Monty Python's flying circus set in the world's oddest zoo, The Mighty Boosh was far from mainstream entertainment, yet became a cult hit. A review in Cinema Blend lauded the show for reinventing the idea of silly, while Paste magazine explained, the wonderful concept behind the Boosh is that there isn't anything to get. Meghan and Harry just like to surprise people. No title. Meghan and Harry declined to give their son a title, like Prince Archie. He differs from his cousins in this way, as they're all prince or princess. But the Sussexes probably wanted to give Archie his best chance at a normal life, and it's not normal to be a prince. Archie isn't the first royal child to not have a title. Princess Anne didn't give her children titles either. Redhead. Before we'd really gotten any pictures of Archie, a source close to the royal family revealed what fans all wanted to know: Archie had Harry's red hair. He's still little, so it is possible that Archie could grow out of that hair color as he gets older, but we hope he gets to stay a ginger. That would be so cute. Dual citizenship. With Meghan Markle retaining her US citizenship and Harry being British, their son has automatic dual citizenship to both the US and the UK. So don't even try. Fielding offered his own take, via The Guardian, describing the show as a psychedelic version of classic Britcom Open All Hours. His love of cake once got him fired, as anyone who's ever watched Noel Fielding on The Great British Bake Off will attest. He does enjoy a nice piece of cake.
Pretty cool, huh? However, it seems that the Sussexes will be leaning into the US part of Archie's citizenship and raising him in California for the time being. Still in line for the throne. Although Harry and Meghan have officially stepped down from royal duties, the royal succession line has stayed intact. That means that Harry is still sixth in line for the throne, after his dad, his brother, and all of his nephews and nieces. Archie comes right after his dad at seventh in line, but it's unlikely to affect anything. Still, it would be interesting if Archie ever had to become king after being raised not royal. Foundation in his name. When they first left the monarchy, the Sussexes had big plans to start their own foundation. They've had a bit of a bumpy start because of everything going on in the world right now. But once things do get up and running, the foundation will have a sweet nod to Archie, because it's called Archewell. Fashion influencer. This baby is basically an Instagram influencer, because after Archie appeared in a cute pom-pom hat at the beginning of 2020, the clothing item totally sold out. According to a hilarious anecdote from his youth, that affection for cake once cost him a job. Asked in an interview with The Guardian to reveal the worst job he ever held, Fielding made the revelation. Thousands of orders were placed in just 48 hours. Just wait until he's old enough to start dressing himself. Then he can really lean into his fashion icon side. Bit of a flirt. Archie may have had his first crush when he visited South Africa with Meghan and Harry. The Sussexes had a meeting with Archbishop Desmond Tutu, and his daughter, Thandeka Tutu Gx Ash, whom Archie took a liking to. According to Us Weekly, the Archbishop's daughter commented that Archie liked her best, and Meghan said, "He likes to flirt. Probably gets it from his charming father." Meghan has a funny nickname for Archie. The same Us Weekly article revealed that Meghan has a cute pet name for her young son. "When I was 14, I had a job in a cake shop. When he started to drool during their South Africa tour, she called him Bubba. Too cute." The magazine reported that she's also been seen calling him that on Instagram, so it seems to have really stuck. "I got caught by the boss, lying down eating cake, and was sacked on my first day," he explained, and backed up in a TV appearance, confirming the boss went off upon discovering the new employee lying down eating cakes. Meanwhile, there may be a genetic reason behind Fielding's appreciation of baked goods. We wonder if Prince Harry has his own nickname for Archie or if he calls him Bubba too. Interesting connection with Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. Unlike his royal cousins, Archie wasn't born in the Lindo wing of St. Mary's Hospital. That location was probably a bit too public for Meghan, who didn't want to do a post-birth photo shoot, like Kate Middleton. According to The Express, Fielding's paternal great-grandfather, William George Fielding, was employed as a packer in a biscuit factory in London back in 1911. Given the timing, noted The Express, it was likely that the comedian's forebear worked for Peak Frians in South London, which was then the largest manufacturer of cookies and biscuits in the city, nicknamed by locals as Biscuit Town. Noel Fielding is also an accomplished artist. Fans who know Noel Fielding from the Great British Bake Off or via his comedic adventures on the Mighty Boosh may not be aware that he's also an acclaimed artist. In fact, Fielding's paintings have graced the walls of numerous galleries, and fetch a pretty penny. According to a bio at Hooligan Art Dealer, which reps his work, Fielding's first solo show, held at London's Gallery Maison Berthaud, titled Psychedelic Dreams of the Jelly Fox, was sold out. Indeed, among those who collect his paintings are artist Keith Tyson and legendary Beatles drummer Ringo Starr. In a video in which he takes viewers on a tour of his art studio, Fielding explained his artistic process, which starts when I blank my mind out completely, literally no concept. According to Fielding, he simply starts scribbling, and it always starts to take on some human or animal he said, interrupting himself to showcase a painting of 1980s video game Pac-Man, admitting that one was self-explanatory. Noel Fielding dressed in drag to channel Kate Bush for a TV dance performance. Fans of the Mighty Boosh have witnessed Noel Fielding do some pretty weird stuff. Who can forget the hilariously bizarre Old Greg sketch, but it's safe to say that he topped himself when he hit the stage for the 2011 Let's Dance for Comedy Relief charity competition. For his performance, which aptly combined dance and comedy, he delivered a move-for-move recreation of Kate Bush's Wuthering Heights music video.
Not only was Fielding wearing a wig that approximated the singer's hairstyle circa 1978, he even sported a replica of the diaphanous red dress she wore while cavorting in the woods. Later that same year, Fielding made an appearance in one of Bush's videos. Fielding and Harry Potter actor Robbie Coltrane appear together in a very strange scene in her 2011 video for Deeper Understanding, in which Coltrane's deranged character literally strangles Fielding to death, grabbing him by the throat and pinning him to a wall. Noel Fielding's joke about avoiding sugar created an unexpected uproar. How can someone profess to be avoiding sugar while starring in a televised contest in which competitors bake the sweetest confections in all of Britain? That's what fans of the Great British Bake Off couldn't help but wonder when they read an introductory interview with the show's new on-air team in a 2017 edition of The Times. "Sugar is a powerful thing. I get more work when I'm thinner. So I can't put on weight." Instead, Archie was born at the Portland Hospital in Westminster. "No one likes a tubby goth, is what I'm saying," said Fielding in the feature, instantly outraging fans of a television show that is literally a celebration of sugar. After being hit by backlash by cake-loving fans on social media, Fielding took to Twitter to clarify his unwittingly controversial statement. "What I actually said as a joke in the Sunday Times was, 'Nobody likes a tubby goth. I was taking the piss out of myself,'" he wrote in a tweet that he later deleted, but was reported by HuffPost, adding, "I love cake." Some rock band merch Noel Fielding wore for one episode made the internet go nuts, along with his hilarious comments and the quirky way he says, "Get set." Fans of the Great British Bake Off have become seriously enamored of the unique and unusual shirts Noel Fielding wears on the show. One in particular really struck a chord with viewers. A vintage jumper, aka that's also where both Princess Eugenie and Princess Beatrice were born. Christened in the same gown as his cousins, they may not have birth hospitals in common, but Archie does share another connection to Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. They were all christened in the exact same gown, which is a replica of the gown Queen Victoria had made back in 1841. A sweater from 1990's alt-rock band Dinosaur Jr., featuring the cover art from the group's 1994 album Without a Sound. For whatever reason, that shirt led to a tsunami of Twitter love for Fielding as fans took to social media in droves to express their admiration for the shirt. It's probably for the best that modern royals use a replica. Babies can be messy, and that gown is part of history. Breaking royal tradition. Usually, when royal babies are born, the palace releases official merchandise to celebrate, think mugs, plates, boxes, etc. with the royal baby's face on them. Meghan and Harry, pretty unsurprisingly, didn't do that for Archie. Noel Fielding repping the Dinosaur Jr. jumper, "He truly is my sweet prince," wrote one viewer, while another opined that despite who was declared the victor in that episode, the real winner is Noel Fielding's Dinosaur Jr. They seem intent on letting him lead a private life, and plates with his face on them don't mesh well with that. Being raised pretty low-key, in addition to not having royal baby merch, Archie's childhood is pretty normal in all other aspects too. For example, his first Christmas was a very low-key affair. His parents had the money to spoil him rotten, but instead, they reportedly bought him books, building blocks, a baby ball pit. American accent. If Meghan and Harry continue to raise their son in Los Angeles, he'll be a British royal with an American accent. Honestly, we can't wait until he grows up a bit and we get to know him better. Jumper. For anyone looking to duplicate Fielding's sartorial choice, be prepared to spend some time and money. Decider tracked down one of the shirts on Etsy, no longer available, unfortunately, where it was offered for the not-so-low price of $355. Noel Fielding was nearly arrested breaking into comedian Russell Brand's house. A boozy evening in Los Angeles came to an inauspicious conclusion for the Great British Bake Off's Noel Fielding, following a night of drinking with a member of seminal punk band the Sex Pistols. "I was staying at Russell Brand's house. The Sussexes will likely keep him out of the spotlight as much as they can, but if and when they choose to share some Archie moments, we'll be ready. He had 50 Cent's house. That was where he was living," Fielding explained in an interview with Scotland's The Herald. "I had no keys," Fielding continued, which led him to climb over the fence. "It was an electric fence and the alarm went off and I was like, this isn't going well. And the next thing there's a beam on my head and a policeman telling me, 'Sir, get off the fence.'"
Fielding informed the officer that he was staying with Brand. He said, "Of course you are, sir. I'll escort you in now." He took one look at me and said, "He's not lying. If you think a thief in LA would dress like that." Noel Fielding used to hang out with Amy Winehouse. These days, Noel Fielding is happily hosting the Great British Bake Off and reveling in domestic bliss after he and wife Leanna Bird welcomed their second child in October 2020. In fact, Fielding would be the first to admit that his life is far different than the wild days of his youth. In an interview with the New York Times, Fielding recalled those years, when he ran with a crowd that included singer Amy Winehouse. I used to hang out with her, he said of the Rehab singer, who tragically died of a drug overdose at age 27 back in 2011. It's so sad. God, if I'd died at 27, I would have missed out on so much. Those hard partying days are light years from the life he went on to lead, and he wouldn't have it any other way. It kind of gets better as you get older, in a weird way, he said of aging, recalling those days as all crazy and fast. It reminds me of a different person really. The strange reason Noel Fielding's audition for the Great British Baking Show took place in a garden centre. Some fans of the show were uncertain about the addition of avant-garde comedian Noel Fielding to the Great British Bake Off, and that included the show's producers. In fact, Fielding revealed in an interview with The Express, this led to a very unorthodox audition in order to prove he'd be right for the time-tested UK television hit. One of my tests for the show was to go into a garden centre and chat to people, Fielding said, explaining that there was some trepidation about his basic lack of baking knowledge and how he'd fare when conversing with contestants. At the end of the test, they were like, "You've got to stop now, we've got to finish, it's dark," he recalled. I'd made friends with two ladies, it was brilliant. Fielding also respects the Great British Bake Off and its format enough to tailor his comedic impulses to suit the show, and not vice versa. You can't push your vision onto something that already has a tone, he told the New York Times, you have to respect the tone. Why the Great British Baking Show is the realest job Noel Fielding's ever had. Becoming a part of a television institution such as the Great British Bake Off team is something that Noel Fielding never could have conceived of during his Mighty Boosh days, and sees that as part of an evolution toward maturity. He's admitted to being a bit of a Peter Pan character, and told the New York Times that the Great British Bake Off has been the realest job I've ever had. If Fielding was surprised by how well he fit into the show, this was also the case with viewers. Far from being the odd addition to the mix, his quips, asides and bizarre references have become the best bits of Bake Off, the nuggets you turn the volume up for and rewind if you miss, a review in Radio Times declared of Fielding. Bake Off never took itself seriously, but who knew you could handle heaps more irreverence and silliness and still produce such entertaining results? Fans flipped out when they Googled Noel Fielding's age. A November 2020 episode of the Great British Bake Off celebrated the 1980s, reported Digital Spy. This somehow led Noel Fielding and co-star Matt Lucas to joke about a vintage British TV show from that decade that likely soared over the heads of the show's younger viewers. That joke only works if you're over 45, cracked Lucas, which apparently sent viewers rushing to Google en masse, discovering that Fielding was 47 years old. Fans were seemingly rocked by this information, and took to social media to express their shock that Fielding was far older than they'd imagined he was. Finding out Noel Fielding is 47 had shaken me to the core. Although he was late 20s or early 30s, this feels wrong, read one tweet, while another inquired about what skincare products he used to remain looking so flawless. Added a different Twitter user, Goths truly don't age. The 10 albums that changed Noel Fielding's life. For loyal viewers of the Great British Bake Off, it shouldn't be surprising that Noel Fielding's taste in music is as quirky and eclectic as his comedy. Fielding proved that when he revealed the 10 albums that changed my life to Metal Hammer. Among Fielding's faves are the Kiss classic Destroyer and 2 Motorhead albums, Bomber and Ace of Spades. Oddly enough, Fielding's list also includes an album that he absolutely loathes, Coldplay's X and Y. Then again, according to Fielding, all the band's albums would fit that bill. I get a lot of energy out of music. I want to get pumped up. I love bands that are visual too, so Coldplay fail on all counts, he explained. You never see Chris Martin and think, ooh, I must get that sweater. The album in his collection that he thinks would surprise most people is ABBA's Arrival. I've got a few ABBA records, he said of the Swedish quartet. People say, why have you got that? I just like a nice cry when I'm on my own sometimes. They make me cry and then they make me feel better. Noel Fielding's baffled that his fanbase is so much younger than he is. While viewers of the Great British Bake Off may have been surprised when they learned that Noel Fielding was in his late 40s, he admitted he's just as surprised that his fans are so much younger than he is. I do get a lot of young people, weirdly, I don't know why, but young people seem to like what I do, he mused in an interview with The Music. Maybe young people are quite interested in more conceptual, fantastical stuff. I don't know why, maybe when you get older you want your own life sort of reflected back at you to prove that you're alive. Fielding also discussed an odd phenomenon he'd been witnessing during a comedy tour. As I'm getting older my audience are staying the same age, they are quite young, he explained. It's like a science fiction film where I get older and no one else ages. I'll be like 80, and my fans will still be 17, it'll be really weird. Noel Fielding choked up viewers with his sweet farewell to Sandi Toksvig. One of the most unexpected pleasures to emerge when Noel Fielding joined the Great British Bake Off was his hilarious rapport with co-star Sandi Toksvig. When she announced in January 2020 that she'd be leaving the show, Fielding shared some sweet sentiments on Instagram. Good double acts are a rare and magical beast. I'm gonna miss Sandi comically and personally, he wrote in the caption accompanying an image of cartoon duo Tom and Jerry. In a follow-up, he compared their unique chemistry to that between the Rolling Stones' Mick Jagger and Keith Richards. I feel like Tom without Jerry. Mick without Keith. I'm gonna miss you Sandi and our strange and magical double act. It's been a joy to hang out and muck about in the tent with you, he wrote. Prior to her departure, Toksvig and Fielding participated in BuzzFeed's BFF test to see how well they really knew each other, with each asked the same question and then writing down their answers. One question sparked an interesting response, asking them to recall what they thought when they first met each other. Fielding wrote, "True love," while Toksvig's response sent him into hysterics, "empty-headed but charming."